I was asked by a close friend that is 57. He just sold his company and sold his large house for a much smaller, cheaper one, and now sits on a pile of cash. By the way, I think it was last week or the week before, I recommended downsizing. Don't be house rich and asset poor. Okay, if you find yourself in a situation where 2/3 of your wealth is real estate, that's not a good place to be. Okay, flip it around. Maybe 1/3, maybe 10% is perfect real estate, maybe even 3% or 5%. But bear that in mind. Now, good job there. If his smaller house was paid off and he had a very large Tesla holding, and just a few weeks ago, he sold all of his MicroStrategy position, averaging $21 a share basis, which means he followed me into the MicroStrategy trade. Well done. Good job. And my basis, some of that is much lower than that, and bought more Tesla and NVIDIA and has enough Bitcoin for his current family. What should he do with the pile of cash? If his goals were to retire and never have to worry about anything again, just spoil his grandkids, what would you do with that USD? His biggest fear is making a huge mistake this late in the game. So this is, again, everybody has a different kind of profile, risk tolerance. Sounds like this person is set. Sounds like they do have some concentration. And I don't know much about the numbers, but this is kind of what I pick up. And this, of course, this is not financial advice by any stretch of the imagination, but it's kind of how I view things. Okay, so stress as well. I am just a guy on the internet making fun videos to try and guide people what to do. Now, this is kind of like, call it a guiding philosophy, because you did say you don't want to screw this up. Shout out to Raoul Paul, who has a different flavor of that expression. But really, you need to focus on preserving your bags. So that goes back to the whole risk reward. Focus on disruption and Bitcoin. That'll help you beat inflation and debasement and maintain the value of your wealth over time. Very important. Also, think about generating reliable cash flow like Strife. We'll talk about that a bunch of times today as to why. Also, diversify to reduce risk. But at the same time, you make money by having heavily concentrated bets in very good risk reward assets. That's Bitcoin and disruption to avoid catastrophic losses. And remember, anything can go to zero. And also very important, don't screw this up. Make sure you maintain your health insurance. Have protection for your family too. One debilitating illness can wipe out a family. Make sure you keep as well 5 to 7% cash for emergencies. And this could also be kept in assets that generate return, but have to be liquid so you can pull them out when you need them. We'll talk about that pulling out thing is so important too. Also, current portfolio risk and overexposure. I recommend try keep your Tesla and NVIDIA. If it's just too, it sounds like you've got a very big Tesla bag, try keep them under 50% just in case. If you have 50% now and then Tesla triples, that's okay. Then you take some off the table perhaps and rotate. We'll see where it all goes. Your crypto risk as well. If you have large Bitcoin holdings in cold storage that are risky, that's one thing I am very afraid of. Imagine you're holding $1 million in Bitcoin on a wallet and you screw up and lose it, or the house burns down, or you forget your seed, or you come off your bicycle and bang your head. That is what scares me. So think about, if you have that, I don't know if you do or not, rotate into some ETFs, maybe some proxies like MicroStrategy. And be prepared to jump ship at the flick of a switch. If anything happens with any asset, I always say keep your dancing shoes on. Okay? Overexposure to winning assets is high risk, but also very high return. But remember, keep an eye on cycles, rotation, and preserve and maximize capital. So you have done a great job. You have your bags. Now you need to protect them. Okay? And do not screw this up, as I say. What I would kind of rough, because of your position, you've got your high conviction equities. You'll be about 50%. Try to keep it at that. 40% Bitcoin and digital assets, mostly Bitcoin. Good. And remember this. Think about this as well. Think about now for the first time ever, and I am not a treasury type money market investor. I don't do that until now. There's a thing called Strife that can give you 10% or more per year. And remember, it's also risky, but what you could do here, what I like about this is you have the money to put aside, okay? So you can preserve your assets that are going to go up exponentially over the coming years, but you need some of your assets to generate money to cover your overhead, like your smaller house, maybe groceries, food, cars, that type of stuff. That can all be done now with Strife, which is a change in the game, which we'll talk about here as well in a second. But don't fade as well the power of rotation. This is our latest baby, by far the most complicated beast we have ever created. It took 10 months and a very large, crazy team and advisors and everything else. But if you look at this chart here, your 2-year hodl in 5 disruptive assets, your ROI is 160%. If you can rotate between them with a data science system, you can get 21x return instead of 1.6x. Okay, that is huge. Your ROI of $25,000 invested goes to $535K in 2 years versus hodling, which gets you $65K. So you'll hear more about this one later. Also, mixed in a little Strife. Shout out to Jesse Myers. Strategy announced the pricing of Strife, $85 a share. This means 11.8% annual dividend. US Treasury bills offer 4.2%. This is key here. This is how Saylor will be able to source $3 trillion from the bond market to buy Bitcoin. This is like a circular thing, okay? He's giving you an asset that pays you 11.8% dividend. Relatively low risk, not risk-free, but that's enough to live on. So we'll see as well. And I have some rules regarding that asset as well, which we'll get to in a second. But that's definitely something we need to consider. I'm even considering it as well. But remember, all assets can go to zero, and this is not financial advice. We'll repeat that again. Also, finally, you mentioned fun and doing things. So I thought a little bit out of the box here. Life, what I've learned in life, it's all about memories and making memories. Allocate 5 to 10% of whatever for travel, philanthropy, gifting, memorable experiences. Heaven forbid, going somewhere like a good park like Legoland or something. I don't know. Also, AI is coming. So your kids and your grandkids will need more help than ever before. This is the first generation, okay, that's now going to make less than the previous generation. All generations have become richer and richer and richer over time. Now that's going to go down, and there will be wealth concentration amongst those that are allocated correctly. I know that sounds like depressing, sad news, but that's why you're watching this channel, to prepare. So make sure you don't get stuck in that downdraft as well. Invest in the grandkids' future, 529 plans or whatever they are around the world, educational funds. Make sure they're taken care of, because it's going to be very tough for them as well. Also, this could be interesting too, because you sound like a very good investor. Consider angel investing. Throw 50K at a passion project. But remember, you may never see that money again. And remember, AI is making these angel investing things even more complicated and more risky than ever before. So bear that in mind too. And again, I'll stress again, make memories. And that is what life is all about.